Apple recently just announced the release of the iPhone 14 series, and it comes back with some new features that will definitely shock you. But my favorite of all is how they managed to play around with the notch area to make it so functional and eye-appealing. It's now called the Dynamic Island. Apple's new release of the iPhone 14 series include the iPhone 14, the iPhone 14 Plus, the iPhone 14 Pro, and the iPhone 14 Pro Max. This means this year, iPhone lovers won't be seeing the iPhone 14 mini. The iPhone 14 series phones all come with a notch except for the iPhone 14 Pro and the Pro Max, which are built with what Apple calls the Dynamic Island. The Dynamic Island is so interactive and robust. To me and a few friends of mine are calling this an interactive taskbar on a mobile phone, as it displays some of the phone's interactions in a cool way. The iPhone 14 series comes in 5 colors, which are Midnight, Purple, Starlight, Product Red, Blue, and are housed in a ceramic shield, front glass back, and aluminum design. The iPhone 14 series comes in 2 different sizes, 6.1 inch and a 6.7 inch display respectively, backed with a Super Retina XDR OLED display. Both models have fingerprint-resistant oleophobic coating and support display of multiple languages and characters simultaneously. About the fingerprint-resistant coating, we are yet to confirm that when the iPhone 14 ships out. The iPhone 14 comes packed with IP68 rating. It's resistant to water or splashes and dust at certain levels. The iPhone 14 series is able to hold up to 30 minutes of 6 meters as maximum depth. Well, if you go below 6 meters, then the water resistance time is most likely to go down or deteriorate much faster. The iPhone 14 series is run by an A5 Bionic chip. Apple promises much faster performance, though I believe most of the iPhone users or phone users in general never notice the performance speed or refresh rates, as most of their phones are for basic things just like calling, messaging, mobile payments, and using the camera. The iPhone 14 series comes with a 4323 mAh built-in lithium battery just like the previous models, and if you love a quick charge, this series of phones are capable of fast charge of up to 50% in 30 minutes if paired with a 20-watt adapter or higher. Just make sure you get the right charger and you are good to go. The most common third-party brand, since Apple doesn't provide a charger, is called Anker. There are many positive reviews about this particular brand, so you could give it a try. Now, focusing on the camera has both slightly improved compared to how good they already are from the previous models or iPhone 13 series. There is improved auto image stabilization, cinematic mode up to 4K HDR, as well as time-lapse with video stabilization. When we look at communication, the iPhone ships with all mobile communication abilities from calling, texting, and other third-party apps. With communication in the iPhone series takes it a little further, with the ability to send messages via satellite, for instance in times of emergency or in areas where there is no cellular network. In this segment is where we find out what charging system is on the iPhone 14 series and whether Apple gave in to the EU's request. Now, going back in time, in 2009, an MOU was made amongst smartphone manufacturers to have a similar or universal charging system. And it's from these steps that were taken that now we are using Type-C on most of the Android phones you see on the market. Apple did not really buy into the idea, so they created their own, naming it the Lightning connector. In this MOU, there were some loopholes. Apple smartly used the loophole to their advantage that allowed manufacturers to continue using connectors if they offered an adapter. They went ahead and stuck to their plan. In 2014, the AU called for the development of a common charging system. This was a move mainly targeting Apple, an American company that had declined using a similar charging system or charger. Apple simply declined, claiming that it would cost them close to $2 billion to implement the USB Type-C into their iPhone, a cost they weren't willing to meet. But remember, this would also kill Apple's investment in their own charging system. And for this, I give them credit to that. Though some Apple products are already using the Type-C charging system, just like the iPad Air, iPod Pro, and the MacBook Pro, Apple has been reluctant to include the Type-C charging system into the iPhone. Many have been anxious to find out whether Apple's iPhone 14 will ship out with a Type-C charging port. Well, since there is no talks about this, especially during the launch, I will spill it for you. The iPhone 14 series will ship with a Lightning connector port, Apple's proprietary charging system, just like the previous models. This is evident from Apple's website according to this image.
And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math. When I hate, I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal.